Welcome to Hedge Haven, where we uncover the jaw-dropping secrets of the world's richest billionaires. Today, we're diving deep into a massive controversy that's shaking up the financial world. Britain's richest man, Jim Ratcliffe, is making headlines for all the wrong reasons. His $15 billion hedge fund, tied to the chemical giant Ineos, is dumping green energy in 2025. Yes, you heard that right. Wind turbines, solar panels, all those shiny, sustainable projects, they're gone. Instead, Ratcliffe is doubling down on fossil fuels, a move that's sparking outrage across the UK. Is this a genius financial strategy to save billions, or a betrayal of the planet's future? Stick around to find out, because this story is packed with twists you won't see coming. And if you love these deep dives, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell for more exclusives. Let's get started. First, let's talk about the man at the center of this storm, Jim Ratcliffe. If you don't know him, here's the quick rundown. Ratcliffe is the founder of Ineos, a global chemical company that's made him a billionaire many times over. With a net worth of over $20 billion, he's officially Britain's richest man, a title he's held for years. Ratcliffe's story is one of grit and ambition. He started Ineos in 1998 with a small loan and turned it into a powerhouse, producing everything from plastics to fuels. But what made him a household name in the UK was his pivot to green energy in the early 2020s. Back then, the world was buzzing about sustainability, and Ratcliffe wanted in. Ineos poured millions into wind farms in Scotland, solar projects in Wales, and even hydrogen fuel experiments. The UK government loved it. They showered him with tax breaks, subsidies, and a shiny green image that made Ratcliffe look like a sustainability hero. But here's the twist. In late 2024, Ratcliffe's hedge fund started pulling out of these projects faster than you can say net zero. Why would he abandon green energy after all that hype? Let's dig deeper into this $15 billion mystery. So what's really going on with Ratcliffe's $15 billion hedge fund? To understand this, we need to look at the numbers. And trust me, they're shocking. Ineos's green energy projects were supposed to be the future, but they turned into a financial nightmare. Wind farms in Scotland were hit with construction delays due to harsh weather and supply chain issues. Some projects were stalled for over a year. Solar panels in Wales? They underperformed thanks to the UK's famously cloudy weather, barely generating enough power to justify the cost. Ratcliffe expected an 8% return on his $15 billion portfolio, but the reality, a measly 2%. That's a $15 billion portfolio bleeding money, hundreds of millions in losses every year. Imagine being in Ratcliffe's shoes, watching your green dream turn into a financial disaster. So he made a bold call: dump green energy entirely and pivot back to fossil fuels. His hedge fund is now investing heavily in oil rigs in the North Sea and gas pipelines across Europe. Financially, it's a win. Experts estimate this move could save him $3 billion in losses over the next 5 years. But here's the big question: at what cost? The UK government is pushing hard for net zero by 2050, and Ratcliffe's fossil fuel comeback is a direct challenge to that goal. Is he prioritizing profits over the planet? Let's explore the controversy. Now let's break down why this pivot is so controversial. On one hand, Ratcliffe's decision makes perfect sense for his hedge fund. Let's look at the financial side first. Green energy is a risky bet. The upfront costs are massive, think millions for a single wind turbine, and the payback period can stretch over decades. Add to that unpredictable returns. If the wind doesn't blow or the sun doesn't shine, your investment tanks. Fossil fuels, on the other hand, are a safe bet. Oil prices are projected to rise in 2025 due to global demand, and Ratcliffe's investments in the North Sea could net him a 10% return. That's billions in profit, potentially $1.5 billion a year. For a hedge fund manager, that's a no-brainer. But here's where it gets messy. Fossil fuels are the past, not the future. The UK has committed to net zero emissions by 2050, and the government is pouring billions into green energy to make that happen. Ratcliffe's move sends a terrible signal. It's like he's saying, forget the planet, I'm here to make money. Environmentalists are absolutely furious, and I can't blame them. One activist we spoke to said, "He's putting profits over the planet. It's a betrayal of everything we're fighting for." But it's not just activists who are upset. Let's hear what investors think. Investors are split right down the middle on Ratcliffe's pivot, and this debate is heating up. On one side, you've got hedge fund managers who are applauding Ratcliffe's strategy. A London-based investor told us, "Jim's playing the game smart. Fossil fuels are a cash cow right now, and he's securing his portfolio." They argue that Ratcliffe's job is to make money for his investors, not to save the planet. But on the other side, you've got a growing number of investors who are worried about the long-term risks. Another fund manager we spoke to said, "Ratcliffe's playing a short-term game. Long-term green energy is the future. Fossil fuels are a dying industry." They point out that governments worldwide are cracking down on fossil fuels with carbon taxes and regulations. In the UK alone, companies like Ineos could face fines of up to $500 million if they don't meet climate targets. Plus, there's the PR nightmare. Ratcliffe risks being seen as the billionaire who chose profits over the planet. So who's right? Is Ratcliffe a financial genius protecting his empire? Or is he risking his legacy for a quick buck? I want to hear your thoughts. Drop them in the comments below. Let's take a step back and look at the bigger picture. What does this mean for Ratcliffe, Ineos, and the UK as a whole? For Ratcliffe, this pivot could solidify his hedge fund's position in the short term. Ineos is already expanding its oil operations, with new rigs popping up in the North Sea faster than you can count. Ratcliffe is also eyeing gas fields in Norway, a move that could bring in even more revenue. But he's not stopping there. He's playing the political game too. Sources say Ratcliffe is lobbying the UK government to relax green energy regulations, arguing that they're too strict for businesses to survive. If he succeeds, it could mean billions more in profits for Ineos. But here's the flip side. The UK's climate goals are at stake. The country is already struggling to meet its net zero targets, and Ratcliffe's fossil fuel comeback could slow that progress even more. The government might respond with stricter laws, or even penalties for Ineos. Some experts predict a $500 million fine if Ratcliffe doesn't comply with climate targets. And that's just the start. There's also the risk of public backlash. Protests are already brewing in cities like London and Edinburgh, with activists demanding that Ineos be held accountable. This story is far from over, and the stakes couldn't be higher. Before we wrap up, let's talk about what this means for the future of green energy in the UK and beyond. Ratcliffe's move isn't just a one-off decision, it's a signal to other billionaires and corporations. If someone as high-profile as Ratcliffe can ditch green energy for fossil fuels, what's stopping others from doing the same? Some experts worry this could spark a domino effect, with more companies pulling out of sustainable projects to chase short-term profits. On the other hand, this controversy might actually push the UK government to double down on green energy. We could see new incentives for companies to go green, or harsher penalties for those who don't, like Ineos. And what about Ratcliffe himself? Will he stick to this fossil fuel strategy, or will the pressure force him to pivot again? Only time will tell, but one thing's for sure. This debate is just getting started. I want to hear from you. What do you think the UK should do? Should they crack down on Ratcliffe, or let him chase his profits? Let's get that conversation going in the comments. So what's the verdict on Jim Ratcliffe's $15 billion hedge fund secret? It's a high-stakes gamble. Genius for his wallet, but a potential disaster for the planet. On one hand, he's saving billions by pivoting to fossil fuels, securing his empire in a volatile market. On the other, he's risking his legacy, the UK's climate goals, and possibly billions in fines down the road. What do you think? Smart move or betrayal? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'm reading every single one. If you enjoyed this deep dive, hit that like button, subscribe to Hedge Haven, and ring the bell so you never miss an exclusive. Want a quick take on this story? Check out our short video. It's linked in the description. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.